Welcome to the movie Speeching. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take good care. Kung Fu Jungle is the name of the movie. Please like and subscribe for every update. In the opening scene, a martial arts expert named M.O. enters a police station. His face was covered in bruises and cuts, which alarmed police officers. He asks what happened and he replies that he just killed someone. Officers immediately called higher-ups and arrested him. It turns out that M.O. was fighting an opponent in the ring and unintentionally killed him during the fight. M.O. knew what he was doing was wrong, even if it was an accident. There he turned himself in. The scene begins 3 years later. A police officer named Ruku is called to investigate the murder scene. She is informed that the deceased was a boxer. At first glance, a forensic pathologist notices broken ribs and limbs, as well as blood clots around the eye. Investigator Luck deduces that the victim must have been tortured for several days to sustain such severe injuries. However, due to the nature of the injuries, doctors believe the victim probably got into an altercation with someone more experienced. They also notice a strange dagger lying at the crime scene. Mr. M.O. has been living peacefully for 3 years somewhere behind bars. He is often at the mercy of groups of prisoners. With his skills, M.O. can easily teach children lessons, but he avoids arguments. News of the death was broadcast on television and caught Mo's attention. He watched the show in shock, as if he knew something about the murders. Immediately after, he ran up to the security guard and asked him to call Detective Luck. The guard sarcastically asks what else he wants. M.O. tries to explain that he knows something about the recent murders, but is overruled. He then begins an altercation with a group of prisoners. The group's leader managed to hit him in the head with a metal plate, but M.O. evaded his second attack and broke both of his arms. They are now surrounded by police and arrested. The prison warden knows that M.O. is not normally a violent person, so he called Detective Luck and arranged a meeting between the two. M.O. finally meets them, and he claims that the dead were former friends whom he had once fought and defeated. Due to the nature of the murder, M.O. is convinced that the culprit is about to commit murder. He's not looking for revenge or money. He just wants to fight the best kung fu warriors who are fair and honest. When asked why he was so sure, M.O. didn't give a definitive answer, but insisted that if he were released, he could help find the killer. Investigators suspect he may have something in mind to get out of prison. As they were about to leave, M.O. named 7 people, explaining that one of them would be his next victim. The name comes from the fighters he fought and defeated over the years. Detective Ruku does not believe his story, but still asks his junior to collect information on all 7 people. We then see the murderer sharpening his dagger and writing King Lee's name on the wall. Li Wang is one of the people M.O. mentioned earlier. He works at a museum and is currently working on a giant human bone sculpture. When he is alone in the showroom, the killer suddenly appears on top of the skull and shows his face for the first time. He introduces himself as Yu Sao and challenges King Yi to a battle. They fight each other on the top of the skeleton when King Yi notices that Yu Sao's legs are different lengths. He is wearing a shoe with a bigger sole to balance himself. They fight using only their legs, but still show great expertise. Finally, Yu Sao breaks his opponent's leg by putting it between him. After a few seconds, he walked away, leaving King Yi's body behind. Back at the police station, the detective examines the profiles of the 7 names provided by M.O., but finds no similarities among them. They all live a simple life in different parts of the city. However, her past in M.O. seems interesting to her. It is revealed that he founded a famous martial arts club and was a teacher before being imprisoned. These days the club has thousands of supporters. He was also employed by the Hong Kong police force as a martial arts instructor. While the investigators are talking, he learns of King Yi's death. Detective Ruku is shocked that Mo's prediction came true. The next day, M.O. is temporarily released in police custody. By investigating a series of murders, M.O. realizes that the killer targets his victims through martial arts practice. Since he first killed a boxer who used his hands, and then killed King Lee who fought using his feet, his next target will probably be someone who does wrestling. M.O. knows one of the wrestlers among the remaining 6, but Yu Sao goes to the man before the police. When police arrived at the scene, they saw the wrestler's body thrown out the window. He also has a similar dagger stabbed to his arm. Suddenly, Mo looks at the roof of another building and sees Yusao. His evil smile makes him realize that he is the murderer. Mo immediately follows the man while the police do the same. A few minutes into the chase, Yusao takes a leap to the top of a neighboring building and disappears, leaving Mo and the police ashamed that they couldn't catch him. Taking the opportunity, Mo also escapes from police custody. The next day, he goes to his hometown Foshan where he meets his wife Xining. They are happy to be reunited after 3 years. She takes him home and makes him wear a sacred band on his wrist. It is supposed to make him fight only for self-defense and protect him from making the same mistake that got him imprisoned. At night, Mo finds the killer's dagger in one of the boxes with his belongings. Xining reveals that a few months ago, a limping man came to their martial arts school and asked her to keep the dagger. She thinks that the town's historian might know what the symbol in the dagger means, and the two decide to go to him the next day. Then, a flashback shows us Yusao with his late wife who had cancer. She was the only person in the world who loved and accepted him as he is. While she was dying, he practiced martial arts day and night to avoid thinking about her inevitable death. Back in the present, Mo and Xining visit a historian to find out more about the dagger. It is revealed that the symbol there is called Eve Swallow. Under the Qing dynasty, it was awarded to those who lost in martial arts battles. As the couple is talking about Yusao, a man nearby overhears them and claims to know Yusao. A few years ago, Yusao was living in a nearby town with his wife, who was suffering from cancer. Yusao was born with a disability in which one leg was shorter than the other. Nevertheless, through his hard work and dedication, he managed to master the art of martial arts. Mo then calls Detective Ruku and he says he has a lead. The police soon come to town to pick him up and head to the murderer's hometown. They arrive at Yusao's house, but he has already left. The landlady claims she has never seen Yusao doing anything other than training. She also rubbed her face with salt until it bled to make her skin thicker and better able to withstand beatings longer. Later, the police discover the writing on the wall. He says he has lost everything in his life and his only motivation now is to fight the best fighters and become number one. That's why he has killed some of the best fighters and plans to kill many more. Meanwhile, Yusao sets his sights on his next target, a former martial artist and actor. He now challenges them to a duel with swords. After a long and fierce battle, Yusao slit the man's throat and killed him. When a new death occurs, Detective Ruku is pressured by higher-ups to solve cases faster. She tells Mo to do the same, but he seems to be hiding something from them. Once, while in prison, Mo received a letter from Yusao that vaguely mentioned a challenge. At the time, Mo didn't know what it meant, but he now realized that he was the person Yusao least wanted to fight. Detective Ruku also begins to suspect Mo and requests the surveillance camera footage of all his meetings with outsiders at the prison. At night, Mo sits alone in his room and recalls the day before his first murder. Yusao had sent him a letter asking him to watch the news. The next day, the police learn Yusao's current address and dispatch a SWAT team to the house. They search it but find no one inside. When they were about to leave, they realized that his wife's remains were still there. Detective Luck orders the transfer and arranges for the police to hide Yusao until he returns home. The next morning, he is seen approaching the house on a boat. Flashbacks show that his wife was in big trouble before her death. Yusao could no longer see her in this state and mercilessly strangled her to death. Now the police have spotted him and are cautiously waiting for him to approach them so they can attack them all at once. However, Yusao notices the neighborhood guard dog and accidentally turns his back on it. Before anyone knows where he went, he disappears. Somewhere else, an officer investigating the CCTV footage from the prison finds out that Yusao had come to meet Mo while he was in prison. Detective Luck points her gun at him, believing that the killings were his and Yusao's plan to get him out of the prison. Meanwhile, Xining has set off to look for Yusao on her own. Mo swiftly gets hold of the gun from Detective